Ready?
It's 5:59.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to call the August 15th, 2022 St. John Board of Safety meeting to order. Stand for,
No.
stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Amy, if you'd call the roll, please.
Patrick Moran.
Here.
Robert Kometz is running late.
He's running.
He's coming right in the door.
He's coming in the door right now. Robert Kometz.
Here.
Raymond Paradiso.
Here.
Steve DeYoung.
Here.
Chief Flores.
Here.
Chief Leduc.
Here.
Mike Schilling is absent. And Attorney Decker.
Here.
And Town Manager Wizawati.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, next item of business, the approval of July 18th, 2022 Safety Board meeting. Could I have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Paradiso made the motion to approve the minutes. Second.
I'll second that.
Rob Kometz, second. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The motion carries. Number 5, monthly reports from July, Fire Department. Chief Leduc.
Good evening, everyone. So for the month of July EMS activity, we had a total of 132 patient contacts. Of those patient contacts, 64 were transported ALS, which is 72%. 2 were or 3, my apologies, were transported ALS-2. We did have 2 helicopter landings that month as well, so that was 3%. We had 22 BLS transports. Again, the most of our patients are resident at 60. Of our total contacts, 28 were not. Still going to, last month, Crown Point got a little bit higher than Dyer at 41%, 34% to Dyer, and then close behind Munster Community at 17%. We did generate $97,962.32. We received $62,296.27. In regards to the fire side of things, we had a total of 187 total calls. Again, the vast majority are in the town of St. John, 146. 3 in the town of St. John with the Crown Point mailing address, 13 in the town of St. John with the Dyer mailing address, 4 in the town of St. John with the Cedar Lake mailing address, 12 calls to our contracted area in the township, and 9 calls for mutual aid.
Chief Flores.
Okay, from July 1, 2022 through July 31st, 2022, the members of St. John Police Department logged 21,124 miles, responded to 495 law incidents. The investigation of these incidents led to 15 arrests with 28 charges being filed. There were 176 traffic citations issued, along with 282 written warnings, for a total of 458 citations being issued during the month. Vehicle thefts totaled 0. Other thefts totaled 1969. Recovered property was 0. That's it.
Okay. Number 6, old business, Chief Leduc.
Back in May, you guys approved a promotional process. I told you I was going to wait a little bit as a cool down period from the last one, so they had more time to study, prepare for those that were unsuccessful. So we have kind of hammered that out. So a letter of intention is due by the end of this month. Next month, I'm sorry, September 30th. Exam will be October 19th at 9 a.m. at the station. Interviews will be November 16th at 9. I'm hoping I could get 2 of you guys, depending on schedules, for those interviews. A certification list will be at the 21st of November Safety Board meeting. I'm not going to promote right away because if we have some shift changes that may be associated with these promotions if people get promoted. So right now, the last promotion, we didn't have anyone moving shifts. Now there's a potential that we may have like 2 lieutenants on one shift or 2 captains on one shift. So we would promote the following month, and we're also requested 2 new hires next year. So I'm hoping that could all happen in January so we don't mess everyone's shift up and have enough time for them. So that's my old business. Oh, and last but not least, any questions on the promotional process? My apologies. Last but not least, I did fail last meeting and forgot to ask the board or inform the board that Justin Andres completed his probationary period at the completion of the month. I did send an email out to you guys regarding that, but I wanted to formally have it in the minutes that he did complete his probation on January 29th successfully, or July 29th successfully. And that's all I have for old business.
Okay. New business. Chief Leduc.
New business, a few updates. The first one I'd like to talk about is regarding our general orders. General Order 7.36 is our controlled substance regulation. I did provide that to you guys. I'm looking for approval to make that an active general order.
Okay, everybody read it and we're prepared to vote on it?
I'll make a motion that we make.
Wait, hold on. So I just want to make sure everybody's read it and good. Okay, I'll, looking for a motion to approve General Order 7.36, the controlled substance.
I'll make a motion, we can approve that order.
Ray Paradiso made the motion. A second?
Second.
Second by Steve DeYoung. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Business number 2 is officer testing. This is a one we approved back in March. I also made a mistake on this one again, so I'm correcting a lot of my mistakes. But the points to this originally added up to 110 rather than 100. So I went and removed one of the points that they would get for a class that's a prereq for another higher class. So basically I removed Fire Officer Strategy and Tactics, which is a prereq to become Fire Officer 1, making the points 100, so it's an easier math. And I did add that I would like up to two board members at the interview process. That's the only change to this.
Chief, the interview process, now the board members would be just asking non-technical questions, correct?
Yeah, we have some canned questions, but this is more for interview of the officer corps, so that there's some maybe personal-based questions that you could answer or ask as well. And again, you guys interviewed the vast majority of the people in the fire department, but this would be something that I'm looking for an outside sort of influence of if we see something, we don't see something that you guys see, type like something like that.
Okay.
Or if, I mean, I think there's members of this board, there's 2 members of this board that have fire knowledge. I wouldn't be upset if they asked a technical question.
Yeah, personally, I would rather not ask the technical question.
Understood.
And we're going to be getting a new member too, whether that's police or fire. And so, keep the technical questions to the people with
Okay,
fire
perfect.
experience.
I'm okay with that. I just, again, wanted, I value both.
I think to maintain consistency based on how you wrote it for 2 board members, that it should just be kind of non-technical questions. That way it opens it up to the whole board, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
And then, could I ask you something about the appeal process?
Yes.
Do you actually need the president to, I guess, approve the appeal? I mean, is this something that, I don't believe that you would need to actually ask me.
No, so in the spirit of most of my general orders, I took the core from the police general orders that were already approved through the not this board, but a former board that was in there. I don't anticipate anyone ever really appealing, but there's always that possibility. I would hope that I'd be able, when they talk to me, we'd be able to handle it, with that. And if not, I just want to have an outside party again, look at it and be neutral, not coming to the chief and me just saying flat out no. So that's why.
So you do want somebody from the board to look at the appeal process?
I feel that it'd be prudent.
I think we need to. Because right now the department is pretty heavily involved in that promotional process, that if there was an appeal, it kind of could be one-sided. I think having the outside input from the board for the final say of the unlikelihood that there would be an appeal, kind of just, it protects the chief and the deputy chief as far as it goes, as far as being named in any sort of favoritism or whatever it could be.
However, wouldn't the board member be in that same situation?
Not necessarily.
No.
I don't think that you've been that intimately involved in the entire process as what they are.
What would happen if I say I disagree with the appeal, though? The person's appealing and chief agrees with it and I disagree. How would we
I think it goes, my interpretation of this would, you have the final
You
say.
have the final say.
So
Board has
the
final
board
say.
president would
Board
have the
president
final
has
say.
final say.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was. Let me just pull your oral assessment, and I think it says the chief will determine. So it leaves it a little vague.
What page are you on? I'm sorry.
Let me, I wrote it on
Oh,
my
it's wrote
memo
down?
pad.
Okay, I can find it.
I don't have it. I should have brought it with.
Six.
6.
Number
Page
6.
6,
Page 6. Thanks.
under administrative interview.
So the oral assessment is part of the process. It is the interview. And that's laid out for them on page 4.
I think what you're looking for is right here. It says the fire chief will determine if an oral assessment is to be part of the promotion process.
Yes, that is what I
So I
was,
think it needs to be,
just, it's vague, like, we need to put, there will be an oral process.
so right underneath administrative interview, it says the first sentence is the fire chief will determine if an oral assessment is to be part of the promotion process. These interviews will include ... So I think we've determined as a board and as of talking about this, that there will be an oral process.
Perfect. I could delete that and get this back to you guys as well.
Any other comments?
I didn't see anything in here unless it's, and I can't remember, on the page it says applicants have satisfied the local service requirements set forth in the promotional policy. I see, if it's in there, that's fine, but I don't see anything about education in this promotion, in this. And I've looked through it quickly, and I don't see anything like that he has to be certified in anything, or I think he should be at least a certified officer 1.
So in the job descriptions, which is in chapter 4, that's there, on page 3, I kind of refer to the minimum requirements, so that how long of service they need to be here. But in their actual job descriptions that was approved, that's in there.
Okay.
So they have a year to get it if they don't meet it. So they have to meet the minimum requirements and then say they're missing officer 2. They have a year to complete the class.
Otherwise, what happens then if they don't complete the class?
They haven't fulfilled the requirements of being a,
So
For the
they've
job
been acting
description.
as an officer for a year and they don't fulfill the class, and then they have to go back to being a firefighter?
they would go back to the last rank.
Oh, okay.
For lieutenant, be a firefighter. The problem is the state of Indiana doesn't offer classes all the time. So I wouldn't want to hold someone back if there isn't classes. So, and they all have to be IFSAC certified. So they have the opportunity to go to Illinois or Ohio or Michigan to get the classes if they're not provided here. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to get the classes, to have those. They also get points based by what certifications they have. If you look on page 4,
Right, I remember that, okay, that part I remember. The other thing I kind of disagree with is that he only has to be off probation and not be here for 2 years. I think
for the,
for the rank of lieutenant.
okay?
So that means you can have somebody that's on the department for 1 year and they can become a lieutenant.
Correct. I have a very young staff that hasn't had tenure.
I understand that, but
And I also am requesting people to be officers in these roles without being compensated. I feel it's important that they have an opportunity to do that and be compensated for what they're doing. And so currently, we also just promoted with this very SOG, someone that was in the fire service for 13 years at another town, was here for 2 years,
he made 2 years, okay.
and became a lieutenant.
That's fine. Most departments have a 2-year requirement. That's what I'm saying.
We can
You have
talk
to be
about
on
that.
that department for 2 years before you can be promoted.
I'm just going over, so I told you guys the changes that I did at this. Again, this was approved in March. So I'm okay making suggestions and talking about that. I'm just telling you the changes that I made to this current one.
No, we did have a long discussion about that, and I think you gave a pretty good case about young staff. We all know right now, public safety, we're not getting applicants. I do remember having a long conversation about that, and we did approve that.
I feel maybe in 3 to 4 years, especially if the town keeps hiring the way that they're offering for police at least and fire, we could amend that when I have a staff of people to pick from. But right now, I don't feel I have the tenure at St. John Fire to make that a case. I have capable people that have service and have history in the service that could be capable officers. And that have stepped up and are filling that role.
And one of the stopgaps we put in there was you got points for having the certifications, which pretty much eliminates a person that doesn't have the certifications just based on points.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. That part I understand, but the point of being on the department for 2 years, you know, you're taking a guy off probation and putting him in the same category as a guy that's been here for 5, 6, 7 years, and he's been here a year. He hasn't even served 2 years here.
So I also, my only caveat to that is we have a very young department and people that have served elsewhere. One of the benefits to St. John is we have taken a lot of lateral transfers that have their experience. So while I do value tenure here at St. John, believe it should matter to something, and it does. So vacation picks, things like that, that matters. But if I have, you know, we open this up to 18-year-olds. So say we hire an 18-year-old who has no experience. We send them to the fire academy, send them to EMT, send them to become a paramedic. That's every bit going to take 2 years. Then I hire someone that's, you know, 35, been at a career department for, say, 12 years, and has been here enough time to make the list. I feel that he or she should have, their experience means something. And it may not be here, but.
Well, the whole thing is, I'm looking at, yes, he's got the experience in that, but he doesn't have the knowledge of the St. John operation. Okay, some people can pick it all up in a year, some people can't.
Agree. I'm willing to have a further discussion with this. Like I said, this is what I'm telling you guys what I changed, not what we had approved before.
I mean, I'm just telling you my opinion. Okay. You're the chief. If you feel comfortable with it, you know, I will certainly honor your decision. But mine is, do they know the operation well enough?
I don't think I would promote anyone that wouldn't be in an opportunity to be an officer in a leadership position if they didn't know the opportunity. And like I said, maybe here in 5 years, when we get more people that have spent time here, we could certainly change that to 2 years at St. John. I think that is prudent, but we're a department of 13, 14 full-time people, 2 of which are admin. We need to cultivate and accept the people that we have, I feel. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd certainly love to see the people stick around instead of jumping ship every, you know.
If you could help me with that, Ray, please.
I know. I don't know what to tell you. I've grown up in an era where people stayed in their jobs. Today, it's not that way. I understand that.
Well, I just think this, Ray, this is something we can,
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. If he feels that comfortable with it,
well, yeah, we have to let the chief
make the
be the
decision.
chief,
That's right,
so.
and I feel fine.
Okay.
So I guess pending the change on page 6, I guess we could wait till next month. I could return it in because they're not testing till October 19th. I think we have another month. I'll submit the change that you guys had in page 6 that says we will have an oral assessment, and we could go from there if you guys are okay with that.
Sounds good.
It's fine.
So again, when we had all these coming through, we did not have one for general fitness, basically saying that, hey, you're here for 24 hours. You should probably spend part of that 24 hours working out. I remember when I interviewed, this was a big thing with this board and with some other people, that we need to have some rules and regulations. Well, this policy 4.23 is just that. Most of our guys and girls are working out right now. And to tell you the truth, this is going to be one that I could hold myself to the fire with and say, hey, it says I get 30 minutes. I need to work out at least for 3 times a week myself. That's what this policy is about, general fitness. So there's been a huge push, not only nationally, but here locally. A lot of other fire departments just adopted something very similar to this, and I think it's super important that we put this in there for them.
So although I fully support the intention behind it, reading over it, unfortunately, many of us have learned lessons of this, that this can then start to increase workman's comp cases. Because you're making it mandatory, making it mandatory on duty. So there's ways of putting some stopgaps in there, limiting intramural sports, different things. We've all learned different ways. I'm from an administration that took a basketball hoop away from a fire department because it was causing a lot of injuries. I think the intent is great. I think we've got to put some stopgaps and some safety and some catch-alls in there just to protect the town itself from an increase and or frivolous workman's comp cases based on being mandatory to work out.
I'm good with whatever you suggest. Like I said, I think we need something. It's one of the things that I glossed over and didn't turn in, so I think this is a good start.
No, it's a great start. It's a hard one. I've battled with this for years with other bosses, of just trying to figure out how do you put it the right way. We've battled with it with our risk management companies as to, we want to do it. I mean, you had mentioned fitness trainers, things like that, to make sure we have proper body mechanics and all of that. But working with the town manager and yourself, figuring out how to protect the town from workman's comp injuries, because it becomes very easy, and I've seen it too many times, where there's a lot of injuries in the gym. You know, where do you say, what authority do you have to stop it? What authority do you have to say this is what is considered fitness, what is not? Certain things like that, I think we need to add a little bit to it. Just as a protection for the municipality as a whole.
I would think potential injury up to including cardiac arrest. I mean,
Sure.
you
I mean,
be prepared for anything that would happen in a gym.
and we know that things are going to happen. We know that accidents happen. We know that things happen. It's some of the basketball is one that I know of chiefs all over the country have taken basketball hoops down because it becomes, you get competitive. It becomes things. You not only do you have ankles, knees, shoulders. So I just.
Yeah, that's fine. If you have
reach
time,
around,
or if
find
anyone,
some other departments that might have some similar language. Work with the village manager, your risk group, just to protect yourself a little bit. But I'm in full support of it. I think it's a huge part of our job. But as bosses, we got to protect.
absolutely. Think about the bigger picture.
It's mandating versus encouraging.
Well, if I read this right, this is not mandatory.
No, so it's encouraged.
This is not mandatory at all, Steve.
Well, it said.
It just said that they may, I thought it was very clear.
Yeah,
It does
I
say
didn't
it's
see
not
where it was
mandatory.
they had the right to not participate.
So this is happening in another local department, and very, very similar. We have a few things that are different, and one of the things is that if you don't work out, that's rearing its ugly head recently is, so say I'm on shift and I don't work out, I'm covering the calls.
Okay.
So if you three choose to work out, and Chief Flores and I are the two there, guess we get an ambulance call, Chief Flores and I gotta go do the ambulance call. Because if you're not gonna work out, don't wanna do it, then give the people that wanna work out. That's one thing that I
Right. Yeah, I don't think this is mandatory, Steve.
No, it says it's not mandatory, but there's really no protective measures in it.
Well,
So disciplinary action will not be enforced on any member that's participating in the workout but fails to complete the workout. That's if they fail to complete it.
And it may, Kevin, I may want to address this with the insurance carrier too, because we do have our wellness program, and maybe we can kind of tie this in together with that.
That'd probably be your best.
Okay. Point 4 on page 2 is participation in daily group workout is not mandatory.
No, I read that. It's just, there's no
Yeah, I
limitations-
get it.
There's no limitations in it.
Okay, yeah, I will, if we have time to sit down one day.
Over a game of hoops, we could.
I stink at basketball.
They got the basketball court right outside.
End up with a shift off on workers' comp for.
And last but not least, so we're gonna work on that and come back next
Yeah,
month.
right in the park there. Kids turn on the lights.
The last thing, I just included these, I made them fillable PDFs, that's all. So this didn't change, I just made life easier on our officers.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
that's-
Jason, for giving me
Sorry,
access.
Chief, is that yearly then? Is that gonna be,
So yearly on the firefighter that's been here, but everyone else is and the officer, but like our probationary is 3, 6, 9, 12.
Okay.
And we've been doing that, keeping them in their personal files.
Do you do that with newly promoted officers too? Do you have
Yes.
like a year? Okay.
So,
Yeah, they look like, saying what Steve did, they look really nice and professional.
and that's all, like I said, I just made them PDF, so. And that's all I have under new business. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Chief Flores, new business?
The only thing I have is our current eligibility list will expire October 20th for new candidates. So we're going to need to start the process to get that renewed. I don't have the dates ironed out yet because we're still trying to figure out Clark Middle School, what dates work for them on their schedule. But I'm anticipating we'll start handing out applications either by the end of the week or the beginning of next week. And then sometime in September, do the agility test. Probably a couple weeks after that will be the written. And then we'll schedule interviews sometime, maybe second week of October, give or take a week or so. So just kind of a general timeline for you. But for now, I just want to at least get the approval to move forward with getting that started.
Anybody have any comments? Okay, we'll be looking for a motion for Chief Flores to start his eligibility process.
I'll make the
New hires.
motion. I'll make the motion for the chief to begin the eligibility list process.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Rob and seconded by Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, public comment? Guess not. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Steve DeYoung made the motion, second.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting over.